Well, you know, the idea of being able to, you know, escape from a flood but still keep your house.
Yes.
I mean, what exactly can you do aside from, you know, some people think that we just should sandbag the area and you know, para build a dike, but necessarily, I mean, how do people kaya think of ways to protect the community from being submerged in floods?
There's also what they call aqua gates. It's like a floodgate that comes. We move it up when there's flood so that you can divert the flood away from the house.
What is it made of?
It depends. There are some are metal sheets that rise up from the floor, but it's limited in height. Let's say, for example, it's just 4 feet.
Ay, talo yun.
Yes. So it just diverts the flood away.
Yeah.
And also there's backflow valves that we can use also for our drainage system, that since if the drainage system is flooded, you avoid backflow of floodwaters coming through our drainage system. That's also...
Okay.
Yes.
But that's with the design of the drainage system already.
Yes.
Because when you ask people, how would you protect yourself from a flood? They'll just say, I'll build a 3rd floor.
Yes.
Or if I have more money, I'll build the 4th floor. But you necessarily, I mean, in our particular situation, there's no technology that can protect an entire neighborhood from a flood.
Yes.
Yeah, let's say if you were living in Marikina, ano na yan, given na yun, lulubog at lulubog talaga.
Yes. But it's better, that's why, what I mentioned earlier, I think urban planning plays a major factor with the designs and plans of communities, subdivisions. It's best to study the area carefully, have the data gathered, and then avoid really those places that are disaster prone. At the onset, if all communities are planned well, we might be able to mitigate certain disasters.
You know, when you're talking to geologists, and they always talk about the floodplain, right? That they're able to map the flooding history, say for places like Taguig or Marikina, and some of the other low-lying areas like Malabon de Botas, and yet you still see a lot of construction going on, a lot of new communities being built, and that's exactly something that, I mean, our own urban planners somehow neglect, right? I mean, it's something that should already be staring at them in the face, and yet they totally ignore the fact that you're building on a flood-prone area.
Well, urban planning is powerless if it doesn't have institutional powers, practically. If you don't have a post to implement, where will you go? So these are your studies, but they won't be implemented if your local government won't push the policies on these matters.
Okay.
So that is the big problem.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be parang zoning areas, di ba? Na, okay, ito residential area to, dito pwede magtayo ng mga subdivisions and all. But they also have to consider kung ano yung hazard mapping siguro for that area. I mean, is there hazard mapping that's being considered at least by these community developers?
Well, we have the comprehensive land use plans for every local government units. Dapat nandun naka-layout, naka-demarcate yung non-buildable areas. So those areas should not be used for housing or industries. Pero nandun pa rin.
Meron pa rin na nangyayari. And it's something that not even siguro the best technology available abroad can make us a more livable place. I mean, it's still going to be dangerous. It's still going to be affected by, in this case, flooding when it does come. Hindi mo talaga masosolve with technology yung ganon.
Hindi. Because the pattern of our environment is fast changing. Hindi katulad dati, 10 years, 20 years, it's still the same trend. So scientists can study the Earth. Right now, it's very erratic. So you have to be very fast in dealing with these prevention measures. We have engineering interventions such as levees, floodgates, but somehow, our present situation, they are being overrun by nature itself.
Yeah.
So they have to be constantly updated, and sadly, it is very, very expensive.
Well, what do you think is the future of urban design for us? We've seen what happened to communities that were inundated. I mean, a lot of these people would have wanted to sell their houses, kahit napalugi, but of course it's difficult to find somebody who wants to buy three-story house, 5 bedrooms with automatic swimming pool during the rainy season. So it's hard. It's a hard sell. I mean, what changes do you think will happen in the future because of Ondoy in terms of urban planning?
Of course, right now, people are more aware of what the effects of an Ondoy-like disaster can do to us. So, aside from developments, the existing, I think, communities are already there that have experienced it. I think the government already made measures to have them be prepared just in case another incident like that can happen. So aside from the design-wise, there should be also planning how we can mobilize our resources at the event of any disaster, information that we can disseminate to all local.
Yeah, but that's not architecture anymore.
Yes.
That's already disaster preparedness.
Yes, but that is just in case that it's existing already. And then when you consider design, it's best when you design that you start from scratch, okay? And then you identify all the areas already that are disaster prone and avoid those locations. Okay. But if you cannot avoid them, the areas are existing already, then I think disaster preparedness should be is the measure that we should use.
And it's not like we're talking about infinite land here because ang liit-liit na ng Pilipinas tapos pagbabawalan mo pala magtayo doon sa mga lugar na yun.
Archipelagic.
Yes.
So we're really just going to be prone to the sea coming in and flooding our places. So I mean, obviously, if we were to think about future urban planning, dapat meron ng provision for kung gusto mo magtayo sa floodplain, dapat meron ka ring way of mitigating the impact of the flood.
You have to be responsible for the risk you are taking. So you don't blame people. Bakit nagkakaproblema ka dahil nandyan ka? The problem with our history is that our historical cities or city centers are near water bodies.
Yes.
So we are having problems right now from shifting our centers to somewhere inland.
But did you see what the Malaysians did in Kuala Lumpur?
The smart tunnel.
The smart tunnel. So they had a tunnel that can be used as a shortcut from the city center going downtown. At the same time, it functions as a spillway, as a storm water tunnel, so that they can reduce the flooding in the city center. I mean, what about something like that? Is that feasible for us?
It's $500 million project.
It's expensive.
$500 million project. Yes, it's expensive, yes.
Plus, Manila is below sea level. How can you channel the water from a...
So there are too many challenges that can't be overcome kung dito sa Pilipinas gagawin.
Yes. Probably on higher lands, it will be effective, but on our low...
For the kind of elevation that we have, hindi pwede.
You have to study where to divert the flood.
But originally, the concept for the Parañaque spillway was to divert the excess water directly to Manila Bay, right?
Manila Bay, yes. And the Manggahan to Laguna de Bay.
Right. Yeah. So they'd have like interconnecting floodways, all exiting out to Manila Bay. So first of all, cost is going to be prohibitive. And then secondly, the terrain is going to be difficult to handle. So it's below sea level. Kawawa naman Pilipinas, no? Yeah. No technology at all.
Yes.
Buti na lang may mga plastic bottles pa si Illac Diaz. We could use that.
So we can just float.
Yeah, we will. We can float away on our troubles. But apparently, they won't float because they're full of stabilized soil. Tama ba yun, Illac? Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much. Conrad Erfe from the Jonathan Ogan and Associates and Gelo Aguilar of CAD Aguilar Architecture. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming here.
Thank you so much.
Didn't give us any much optimism as to how we can deal with the floods, but
we are not the only country experiencing that.
We're not the only country. Yeah, they had really bad floods in the U.S. just recently.
Even developed nations feeling the effects of
blame Al Gore.
Change.
Yeah, blame Al Gore. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, the rainy season has begun. I don't know if you've noticed it. And my question to you is, are you ready for the floods? When the power is out and your home is flooded, what can you do? We'll tell you after the break. You're watching Future Perfect.